Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rebecca and I'm a stay-at-home mom and an online reseller. This is going to be my video talking about my recap for 2023 in reselling and also, I guess, my goals or whatever for 2024. So 2023, we'll talk a little bit about the year in itself first. So at the beginning of the year, I ended up getting pregnant in like the end of February, and then I was sick and tired with being pregnant and also having two other kids. So this was not my best year for sure. I definitely did not do nearly as much work as I would have preferred, but that's just kind of the way it is sometimes. Obviously, my personal life comes first because I am a stay-at-home mom. This is kind of for fun and for me to have extra money to do things. So going into it with that perspective, I think this year still did okay. So we're just going to talk about my numbers. This was my fourth year reselling online. I started in 2020, and this year probably is most comparable to my second year. Last year, 2022, I had my best year so far. 2020, I was just starting, didn't really know what I was doing, so that wasn't a great year. 2021 was better, but I think 2021 and 2023 were really similar. Okay, so 2023, I have my computer here. That way I can give you my numbers and my stats and all of that. So my gross sales for the year were $5,315.45. And my net profit before taxes was $3,466.10. So about $3,500 before taxes, which once again, not great, but I don't pay the bills in my family. My money goes towards basically buying my kids clothes and anything I want like for myself, and then also, some gifts and stuff for people. So that's where my money typically goes. I'm not paying like my mortgage and our utilities and things like that. So the number of items that I sold this year was 262. I think the interesting thing about that is when you go back and look at 2021, which I had similar outcomes like monetarily, but I sold a lot more items. I think I sold 300 and something that year. So that tells me that I am selling some items that are worth more money than I was back then. So that's good to know. That means I'm probably picking up better items and or selling items for more. So I am glad to see that. That means I'm probably getting better as a reseller. My top performing platform for this year was Poshmark. I sold 112 of my items on Poshmark. And then second to Poshmark was eBay, which I sold 71 items on. Those are usually my top two platforms. I was expecting eBay to be a little bit higher, but that's okay. I'm not like terribly surprised at it. I am a little bit surprised actually that Poshmark was so high because I feel like I had a lot of eBay sales this year. And then coming in third was Whatnot, which is a little bit skewed because Whatnot, you sell a lot of items in like a short time and you don't make as much money. But that's what it was. And it's only 29 items because I only sold in I think January, maybe February. And then I didn't do any Whatnot shows until I just had one the other week. So that's why it's not a higher number. Coming in after Whatnot, we have Mercari. Mercari, I had 18 sales, so not a lot. And then Facebook Marketplace came in after that one at 16. But I had 4 local pickups, which technically would be Facebook sales. It's just people came to me locally and bought them from, came to my house or whatever and picked them up. Then me shipping it to them. So 16 of those sales were shipped and 4 people came to pick up. And I kind of like to differentiate that because when they come to pick them up from me, I don't pay any fees and they don't pay any shipping. So I do make a better profit from that. Next up after that was Etsy. I had 6 sales over on Etsy. Then I had only 5 sales on Kidizen, which is very, very low. Not that Kidizen is one of my top performing platforms, but 5 is still super duper low. Then I only had 1 sale over on Curtsy, which is why I dropped that platform this year. So that's also one of the reasons I only have 1 sale. I do have a video about that, about Curtsy, so you can go check that out. And then I had no direct sales this year. Sometimes I'll post things on Instagram and then someone will want to buy it from there. Usually people I know, like friends of mine that are other resellers. But I wasn't super active on Instagram. My words aren't coming to me. I wasn't super active on Instagram this year either, so I'm also not surprised I didn't have any direct sales. So that's the recap of like my overall numbers. I always like to find out what my top sale was for the year. So this sale was my highest grossing sale, and it also brought me my highest net profit. Sometimes that's different, but this time it's the same. So my highest sale was a vintage board game. So it was by the company 3M. The board game was called Acquire. It was like a financial board game. It had all the pieces. It was from the 60s, I believe. I found it for free on someone's porch. They had a bunch of stuff there for free, a lot of vintage items. So I picked those up, some other books, and like a Goebel little figurine, things like that. This was one of the items. I didn't know anything about it. I was just grabbing some stuff and I was like, I don't know, it looks pretty good. I'll give it a try. So I listed it for $100 and that's what it sold for over on Etsy. So that's where I sell my vintage items. I mean, I list them everywhere, but I can't put like modern items on Etsy because if they're handmade, I didn't hand make them. So you're not supposed to sell them over there. But if they're vintage, you can sell them. So the buyer ended up paying $110.11 because they paid the shipping. My net profit on that was $89.06 for something that I got for free off someone's porch and just thought it looked cool. So I think that was pretty good. Once again, I feel like my mind is just better at picking out the things that will sell or that people may be interested in. I feel like I'm getting a little better at that. Being 4 years in, this will be my 5th year now reselling, so that's exciting. So then the other interesting thing about this year is where I have shipped items to. I'm not keeping track of that anymore, but I did hit all 50 states, I think this past year. So I've shipped to everywhere in the US at least once. And I had been tracking different countries. So I had already sold to Canada, I think once, but now I've sold to Canada, Denmark, the United Kingdom, Puerto Rico, and Australia. So I just think that's interesting. It wasn't really anything crazy that I sold. I'm pretty sure Denmark bought I think it was like an American Eagle button-down shirt or something. I don't know. But it is kind of fun to see where your packages go. But I'm not going to be keeping track of that anymore. Just trying to streamline things a little bit more and focus on the things I think are most important. So that was kind of just a fun thing. That was my whole recap for 2023. I will start talking about my goals for 2024. I don't really set goals per se, but I mean, my overall goal is just to sell more, to resell more. I'm not pregnant anymore, so as long as my health holds out, hopefully things will be better in that respect. I do have 3 kids now, so that's going to make me busier. Honestly, right now, so my 1-month-old wakes up a couple times during the night, and that's typically when I get a new listing up, is while I'm feeding her. So that is kind of handy, but also unfortunate that I'm not getting more sleep. I'm really getting no reselling work done, like new stuff done. Right now I'm lucky my in-laws have my 2 older kids and my baby is sleeping. So that's why I'm able to even do this video. But my parents are around and help out. So sometimes when they're here, I'll be able to do some things. I want to get back on Whatnot some more. Like I said, I want to try to clear out some of my inventory. So definitely follow me on Whatnot. I'm going to be trying to do like a death pile clear out sale where I'm just selling things for like double what I pick them up for. Just so I can move some stuff. I have so much in my death pile. I didn't source like all this past year, not intentionally. I think my entire, you know what? I don't want to look it up, but okay. I did this earlier. I spent under $100 on sourcing this past year in 2023. It was like maybe 80 some dollars. And that was mostly me, like, I'm already at the thrift store looking for myself and I find something. I'm like, well, I just can't leave it here. So I pick it up. So definitely want to source because that's the fun part. I used to do my GoPro videos of going to yard sales. I would love to do that again, but I really have to get a handle on this death pile. And what I would like to do is bring that stuff home and then ideally like maybe pick out some of the higher end things that I think I can list, and then try to sell the other stuff on Whatnot and give you guys a deal. I'd also like to do some live thrifting on Whatnot because I think that's really fun. I love watching those shows. So I'd like to go to the thrift store, especially on like kids clothes and adult clothing as well, but definitely kids clothes, and try to do things that way. So we'll see if I can manage all that. I don't have like a monetary goal, or like I want to sell a certain number of items. I think last year I had said I wanted to sell one item per day of the month essentially, or by the end of the year, I essentially wanted to sell like 365 items. That would be great. We are on the 5th day of the month so far, or end of the year. I think I have 3 sales in, so I'm not quite there yet. But you can also make multiple sales in one day, and it kind of makes up for the days you didn't have any sales. I'm still only listing one item a day right now. I'm relisting my items on eBay as they like expire or as they come up to relist on their own. I do it myself. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have like I said, I don't have like crazy big goals. I just want to keep things moving, move things out, get some new stuff in. I just, everyone wants to source. That's the fun part, right? So I would love to be able to do that, but I really have to keep moving and get rid of a lot of the other stuff I have. I really wanted to clear out that death pile last year and just did not work out. So right now I'm just working off of photos I took before I had my baby, because I anticipated I wouldn't be able to take photos for a little while. So I am still listing that stuff. It's mostly like kids clothing, because when I was super pregnant, that was the easiest thing, was for me to just sit down and I could take photos sitting down with this little people clothes instead of walking around all the time and having the stuff hanging up. So that's what I'm planning to do. Let me know in the comments what your reselling goals are, if they're similar to mine, or if you have some like really lofty goals. I'd love to hear them so we can cheer each other on and hopefully be successful this year. Make sure you do follow me over on Instagram and Whatnot, and check out my other reselling platforms, or all my reselling platforms. They should be in my description, so you can check those out. Some of them have some codes, so if you are new to a platform, you can usually get like some money off or a percentage off of your first purchase. Check those out. I am TheCozyShire everywhere that you look. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.